upcoming session is Jian-Xin from Los Alamos, around the corner. He's going to talk about first principle simulations and low energy effective modeling of Skyrmion with Noncentrosymmetric to zero components. Please.
Thank you. So, I'm Jian-Xin, and first I would like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to present our work mostly based on the LANL-SkyrmionWorkshop program. So here that I really want to acknowledge my collaborator, Hong Charge. He did most of the communications for this study side. And the Jian-Xin had another host effective modeling, and we also involved and also that I mentioned that I acknowledge that they are the program for the 3 years of work. So today I'm mostly focused on capturing the results from DFT calculation and also modeling, and I try to first mention that about the European effects on the Skyrmion city side very briefly, and I also mostly focus on the electronic correlation model for Skyrmion. And we try to understand the local magnetic moment difference between these two compounds, and we finally also try to understand what's the mechanism to induce the 3D or 2D Skyrmion detector and the long-term growth related principles for the new nuclear with high densities. So here that we heard a lot from this workshop, the whole topic is Skyrmion, and mathematically also the topological solid solution known to occur in the non-linear effective field theory or effective parallel, and a lot of the interesting introduction there, so I will not expand that. But on the material side of that, these Skyrmions are equivalent to certain magnetic bubbles, carbon magnets, and typically that it has the size of the diameter of the materials. So currently, definitely that has a lot of discussion on the technology applications of these materials. And here, this actually is a paper I cut from the last review article on the various interesting materials. And as I mentioned, I'm going to focus on the magnetic silicide and also the magnetic germanium. So here that on the magnetic silicide that I briefly discussed the neutron scattering data. Early paper, then you cut the phase diagram, then you do the cube map, and more recent data actually from this paper. And overall that I found consistency between the phase diagram from the two papers and also this cube map. So the major finding that you have relation of the three vectors in resistance with the existence of Skyrmion in this compound. So then I also look at the literature and find that these have also interesting local probe, especially for the real space relation of spin factor in compounds. So this is not the list, but overall I mentioned for the FEG and magnetic silicide, and also is considered a target system for the Skyrmion. And these compounds so here that for my purpose that I want to look into a little more detail on this magnetic silicide and magnetic germanium, and the major difference for the magnetic silicide and germanium is that you have very different Skyrmion size at the same time, and also not listed in this paper that the magnetic moment of these compounds are also very different. So if we look into the crystal structure that the magnetic silicide and the germanium, they have no inversion symmetry, and in this crystal unit cell, you have 4 formula units of the magnetic silicon of the germanium. And essentially that I also want to point out that between the magnetic silicide and magnetic germanium, the lattice constant is a little bit expanded in the another interesting point that in the magnetic silicide we find the skyrmion has two-dimensional texture. However, in the magnetic germanium that we have the 3D skyrmion texture transmission electron. Okay. So on the other hand, as I mentioned before, the magnetic germanium has a much smaller system. So here, that's actually the summary of silicide and germanium, that in the context of the various spin texture from the zero field helical state, one-dimensional feature, and in the two-dimensional lattice, you can have hexagonal or the square lattice, and that's actually the projection of this three-dimensional image. And for the 3D skyrmion, that you more or less see the similar image, but you can see better than how the spin vanishes. So essentially, that I try to remind you that in my calculation, I mostly focus on some of the square lattice of skyrmion for the computational convenience. I realize that your system can be hexagonal based on assumption, as Peter mentioned before, that at room temperature, the difference between the detailed square lattice versus hexagonal is not so significant. So here I want to now give you some brief mentions of method. So we're using density functional theory to calculate the magnetic silicide germanium for the real materials. So specifically that for our work, we have used the fast project dilemma and the initial simulation package for the non-collinear magnetism. And I also pointed out this non-collinear magnetism can also be simulated in other full potential packages like L or the group. The next part is that I want to do some effective modeling, because with my almost 2/3 of my R&D time, I found the DFT calculation computationally is very expensive, so that we tend to take advantage of the recent packaging development of the meso scale, which is defined as a time-dependent model for materials at meso scale. So for that we first start to do the division calculation based on the B20, which is the full potential code for the paramagnetic phase, and based on that we constructed the vacuum modeling then to simulate the spin dynamics based on the Random equation. And we also found the results. We checked the skyrmion topological index based on this formula. So specifically that this final version of the definition of the topological skyrmion index, as Professor Jian-Xin mentioned before, because for all calculation we are working on that. So first that I see that how we do that in the initial calculations. So especially that we always think that we don't have the magnetic capability included in the past calculations. So the final results will be at a stable state of the study, but at least that we can find indeed you get a stable solution based on its initial state. And for the skyrmion, we actually use this formula based on the C-5 for the spin, 3 components of the spin. And it's also the R0 really can show the size of the spin texture. And in our simulation that for a given system, we vary the characteristic length scale R0 to see which one gets to be given the lowest ground state energy in our simulations. So that's actually the picture based on this formula. You have this top view and the side view of the spin arrangement. So now I just give you a brief mention about what we found for the substitution of the atomic defects for either the manganese, also for the silicide, and the detail can be found in this. So here that we first want to see whether we can stabilize the skyrmion in the magnetic silicide. So that's actually the real space calculation. simulate. So from here that we get every given zero to stabilize texture for each convergent solution. We calculate the image, then we look at zero dependence of this image, and we find the negative synthesize of the zero of the Skyrmion size of the zero that is constant. So that's actually compared to the center data, is still a fact for difference if you think of the negative silicon sinking case. So from here that once we have this, so essentially that we can think this is the mechanism, and this is have the source pole, and this is the source pole. So essentially that when we do the substitution for the empirical for the mechanism of silicon, essentially we can replace one of the atoms by the empirical tokens. So that is a summary of our results for the token, for the token effect. So essentially that we consider several tokens. You either use the cobalt substituted for magnesium or the derivative of magnesium. Also, idea that this is one direction in the periodic table to look at whether the further enhancement of the spin effect of spin orbit coupling will give you the additional tuning effect. And we also do the substitution of the silicon and atoms by the heavy atoms, which is very strong coupling. I want to mention that in the 3D array that from the zinc looking point, you can see from here, the energy difference is significant for the zinc atom to settle either on the north pole or the south pole. So that suggests that the magnetism is a very strong pinning effect for the zinc substituted for the magnesium. And the reason we look into carefully that in the 3D electron system, the calculation shows that for the zinc atom, that your 3D electron is almost fully occupied. So that makes your zinc atom non-magnetic, which will destroy your magnetic moment significantly. So from the calculation point of view, and especially for the model calculation of the spin dynamics, it's more or less like you remove one effective spin from the spin model. So that also effectively explains why that is the pinning effect is so significant. And at the same time, that we expected that if we replace the silicon by the other thing, essentially here, and it also seems a reasonable pinning effect on the system. So actually, from here that I explicitly want to mention that the calculation is very expensive, and that's the reason that we make for calculation to the large scale number of Skyrmions is quite limited. So we end up with that this substitution is 3.8 because that's always happening in the supercell. When you substitute the zinc or the cobalt, you still superlattice. So now actually I want to go to look at the mechanism of germanium case, specifically to understand the difference between these compounds. For that, actually, I start with the structure calculation for the paramagnetic base of germanium. So essentially, that you can look at the potential base as a function of energy with respect to the energy. Then the red curve is mostly for the mechanism contribution, and the blue curve was germanium. And this, if you look at the orbital nature more carefully, then we find that these negative d orbitals make the major contribution for the negative phase, and on the other hand, the blue curve is major coming from the y-band p orbitals of germanium. So for that we go to the paramagnetic case, essentially to understand that these most active areas for the spin contribution from the negative p orbitals. So by that, actually, we also look at the difference between the spin orbit coupling and without the spin orbit coupling when you have. So in this calculation, we do include the spin orbit coupling. On the other hand, that without the spin orbit coupling, you use the results here. So essentially, you can see that spin orbit coupling effect splits the bands, but the splitting effect is relatively minor as you expected for magnesium. The spin orbit effect is relatively small. So for that, we then go to the calculation. Essentially, that's based on the vast non-linear calculation. So we do the similar for here as in the magnesium silicide. So essentially, that's the DFT calculation does show the trend of the smaller size skyrmion in magnesium germanium, which is 1.0 compared to 2.0 gas constant in the magnesium silicide. So the trend is systematically captured, but the absolute size of the skyrmion from DFT calculation still offshot by a factor of 4 compared to the experimental value. But here then I emphasize again actually all these calculations is very expensive. And in particular, that I want to point out that the obtained magnetic moment from the DFT calculation is also significantly different from the values. And especially for magnesium silicide, the experimental value of moment is about 0.4 for magnesium, but the calculated is about 1 for magnesium in the silicide. However, in the magnesium germanium, we do get a reasonable value about 2.0 magnitude as compared to the similar value observed. So on the other hand, that's the DFT calculation. As I mentioned, that most because we don't have the magnitude included, so essentially that we always get the stable phase to start with. So now that because of this kind of the carries of the DFT calculations, so we try to move or gear towards the effective modeling of these systems because it will help us improve the computational efficiency. So that's actually the point we start with. Actually, we try to use the maximum log linear function, which essentially that means you want to simulate the material based on atomic orbitals. So the idea is that for the linear function, mathematically is really the transform of the log wave function, the band wave function, into the spatial orbitals. And the reason that this is, we call the maximum log is that because of the unitary transformation you measure here, you have arbitrary degree of freedom to get the arbitrary number of the linear orbitals, which is not so fully guaranteed to be the log. So that's the reason that we optimize these orbitals so that you get these linear orbitals to more or less close to the true atomic orbitals. So based on this linear based Cadavanian Hamiltonian, the calculation already shows that your efficiency is almost linear in the number of electrons, while the DFT plane wave calculation is exponentially shorter. So that actually gives us the confidence that is the right way to go for the steel modeling, especially for the Skyrmion topic. So that's actually what we do. So as we mentioned, for the paramagnetic phase, we do the band structure calculations with the spin orbital coupling included. So that's actually the backline. This is the red is the DFT calculation when we do the linear function modeling, but without the band is in the green color. You can see the almost overlay, complete overlay of the band from the two calculations by including the magnitude by the orbitals and germanium orbitals. So that actually gives you 64 total orbitals in the one unit cell. However, that the advantage is still significant because the DFT calculation has a significant number of orbitals, which gives you the computational, especially the dimension, a significant time. So that's actually the first part that we see. We are very confident in the construction of the effective Cadavanian model for the kinetic energy. But at the same time, that we want to look at that what reason for the magnetic moment between the magnesium germanium and magnesium silicide. So essentially, we look at our past study on the nuclides and also actually in the copper-based cuprate systems we find in the nuclei, essentially the many body calculation of the based on the dynamic mean field theory give you the special feature of the d electron on the RNG orbitals. Specifically, you get a narrowing of the particle coherent band, and you funnel out the particle weight into the lower upper band and the upper band. So this two is incoherent. Then you can think of in the Martin's region, essentially gives the anti-magnetic deep state in the cuprate. This also gives you feature of the spin egress freedom. And in your particle part, you get the renormalize of this particle from the density functional theory calculations. So that's giving you the two broader features. One for the conduction band electrons, which is the renormalized, and at the same time you have the local electrons give you the spin magnetic properties, and they both couple together. So this model is also reminiscent of the Skyrmion model that was proposed by Andrew Triple for cuprate, but this model becomes especially relevant between the iron system and the manganese system where it appears. So this actually calculation, this part is from the TFT calculation, so that we can incorporate the material space. So that from there, we calculate this system and for the Skyrmion and also for the accumulated electrons. So here that I'm thinking that how you think about the 2D Skyrmion versus 3D. So we think some kind of naively that whether it can push some limit about the 2D Skyrmion and the 3D Skyrmion, and essentially we find the same type of FM state. So this is the side view of the materials. Essentially, you can see the C type. You have the same spin alignment, and in plane you have the opposite spin alignment. So that's actually the one extreme limit of the 2D Skyrmion with your R0 push to the R0. So then for the G type of FM, you also have interlayer of spinning coupled anti-magnetically, and this gives you the 3D system. So for that we put into the calculation, and we construct the supercell based on our value model. Essentially, you can think about this SZ in any site in your materials. You can also cut it into different blocks for the C type of FM, which has a very only one half of the periodicity compared to G type or the A type of FM. So here that I cut using the red color for the one spin orientation, and this blue color is for another spin orientation. And in this case, they are opposite to each other, which gives you the G type of the FM based on your unit cell size. So that actually connect the crossover between the 2D feature and the 3D feature. So for that, we first do this small unit cell calculation to look at the energy difference between the C type and the G type. And indeed, as a function of the coupling constant, which is extremely important, the G here, which I forgot to mention, is this one. So this G is really control how your coupling between the incoherent and coherent, that give you the relative crossing effect of this conductive electron magnetization from this rigid spin dynamics. So that actually means the G small is really in the strong interaction limit, but G bigger is in the intermediate limit as in the negative cells. So that's actually give you the idea that if you look at the different unit cell size, you look at energy difference, then you see the very strong G dependence of the relative energy difference between these two actions. So essentially that we got that when you increase the unit cell size, you can see that there's a stable region for the larger G to get the C type FM, which means you will go to the two-dimensional Skyrmion, while on the relatively small G side. So essentially that in this area is more or less in the condition of the magnetic germanium. Essentially that you can think that this G type of FM is stable, so that's giving you 3D features. So now that I do the real heavy load calculations, I really push the very big system and get full relaxation, and and I compared the energy difference for various types of the magnetic spin textures. And for the lower two curves, one is for the G type of FM, and another one is for the C type of FM for the limit of the magnetic silicide and the magnetic germanium situation. So as we expected that for the large G limit, indeed your C type of FM becomes stable, but for the small G limit, then essentially your G type of FM becomes. So that's the 3D nature. So that's also consistent. But more interesting you can find is that once your G is bigger, so because your rigid spin moment is fixed, like a 2-ball magneton, but because when your G is bigger, essentially your itinerant electron degree of freedom has a very strong proximity effect from the local moment. So essentially that makes the contribution of the itinerant electrons for the large G limit is very big. For example, in this case, for the magnetic silicide, you get the itinerant electron contribution is about the 1.8 and 1.2 for this G equals 0.7. So essentially this moment, because your G is anti-parametric coupling between the itinerant electrons and the local moment, so that's this bigger contribution has opposite sign as compared to your local moment. So you get a very large cancellation effect. So that you get reduce the total magnetic moment, which is as we can think of the magnetic silicide. On the other hand, for smaller G is for example 0.1 eV, and your itinerant magnetic moment has a contribution only of 0.34 magneton. So the cancellation effect becomes second. So that gives you the larger total magnetic moment of the magnetic germanium. So that's actually you can find by tuning the coupling strength or the interaction strength, essentially represented by this coupling strength G, you can have the phase transition between the G type of FM and the C type of FM. So now that if you go to the real space calculations and we do the non-G1 dynamic simulation for a bigger system size, then essentially that you can think of in this bigger system size, we still have a similar formula with a different orientation between the layers. So essentially that you can find for the Skyrmion layer, you do got 2D like behavior, but for the Skyrmion anti-Skyrmion, essentially that you get the layer structure, and we are trying to think of the relation to the magnetic silicide. And this actually is a really real space calculation, and in for effective modeling, we are still in the reasonable time to get the results. So that's actually the real space calculation result, and essentially that we want to mention the stabilization of the spin texture in the real space. And especially that if you first look at the energy difference between the C type of FM and the G type of FM, I just remind the C type FM is for the magnetic silicide situation, and the G type for the magnetic germanium side situation. And essentially that you can see that for the large G, which means that your interaction on the G electron of the magnet in the silicide compound is relatively bigger. And at the same time, for small G, we get a stable solution. So that's here we actually mentioned for this kind of green space or real space calculation can never convert a stable solution for the Skyrmion nature. Okay? So we get looks like lucky that for the two limits of this G parameter space, that we can have the small G for the 3D light and the large G for the 2D light. For that, let me summarize that what we have done. So first we have done the DFT calculation. I'll show you that and initially we needed to give you the noticeable killing effect of some of impurity atoms in magnetic silicide, and also that the DFT calculation show a consistent trend of the Skyrmion size in the magnetic germanium versus magnetic silicide, and also that we have got a new insight to capture the 2D and 3D Skyrmions based on the C type and G type of FM configuration, which are the extreme limit to start with. And finally, that we have proposed a strong coupling model, which we think that if understanding of the different nature of the magnetic germanium versus magnetic silicide in the context of magnetic moments and in context of the Skyrmion size and in the context of the 3D versus 2D nature of the Skyrmion phase. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And we have some time for questions.
As we all know that the manganese moment, the manganese silicide, the capability by DUT is probably wrong by factor 2. And the question is if one can correct it, for example, by using LDA plus U. Have you tried actually to repeat your results with LDA plus U for manganese silicide and see what kind of differences you get in the diameter of the Skyrmion?
Yes, so for that, we did try it, but let me remind you what we have got. So for the pure DFT calculation, we get 1.0 and the expanded value we have 0.4. So that actually gave us some kind of worry at the first place. We tried to fix in the DFT framework. So we didn't do the DFT plus U calculations. And we found the momentum size relatively stable. So it didn't solve the problem. So that's the reason we get the strong problem.
I think you want to remark. Since here I experimented with the confused quickly about the word paramagnetic. I think your calculation was not representing the paramagnetic state, but the non-magnetic state.
Thank you very much. I didn't have a dilemma last night. Whether I should use the paramagnetic or use the non-magnetic.
know that, but experimental state.
Yeah, I remind that this DFT is a non-magnetic. Thank you.
Okay, other questions? Everyone's hungry? Well, I guess we have lots of time for lunch. So please join me in thanking all the speakers for being on time for the exciting session.